Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Kyle Allison. Welcome to week 4 of Marketing Strategy MBA course 553 here at Baker University. This week's topic is going to be focused a lot on retail marketing and the retail industry as it stands today. We'll go over some of the kind of retail insights, what's going on in the industry, some statistics, and then we'll talk about where retail marketing is going in 2019 and beyond. Before we talk about what the retail industry is facing today and some of the strategic challenges and opportunities, let's talk about what retailing means at its core. Now, we all understand retail in its essence. We've all been to a retail store and have bought something before or have got online and purchased something. But we have to understand what retailing is at its core to see where it's gone to today and how we face the challenges of the retail industry today from a marketing perspective. So retail is the process of selling consumer goods or services to customers through multiple channels of distribution to generally earn a profit. Retailers satisfy demand identified through a supply chain. The term retailer is typically applied where a service provider fills the small orders of a large number of individuals who are end users. Let's stop here for just a moment. What this typically means, and you may hear this in the retail industry or marketing in general, is something called B2C, which stands for business to consumer. This generally means non-bulk orders or large orders to a large corporation or amounts of people. It's really just individual one-to-one transactions within a retail company and an end user, a customer. Now, you could have a large group of people buying the same thing, but the transactions are really more one-to-one. Whereas you have B2B, which we'll talk about later, which is business to business, large scale purchases to supply a business or organization or some type of group, which are wholesale providers, corporate or government clientele. Those are generally called B2B or business to business. Shopping generally refers to the act of buying products. Sometimes this is done to obtain final goods, including necessities such as food and clothing. Sometimes it takes place as a recreational activity. As we all know, people like to shop for fun. Recreational shopping often involves window shopping and browsing. It does not always result in a purchase. So one aspect of marketing strategy is that you know you're not always going to convert someone into a shopper. You do, as a marketer, though, have the responsibility to market the product, entice and sway and persuade customers into buying your product. That's your job as a marketer. However, though, we always know that they're not always going to come in and buy the product either in your store or online. But the job is, though, to put your best foot forward, the best marketing effort and content to convert that person into a shopper. But they can also use your marketing material to be a window shopper, to browse, and then maybe later come back. That's why marketing is so important, to understand you're not always going to close the sale, but you may have some way to influence them down the road. The second bullet point says retail markets and shops have a very ancient history dating back to antiquity. Some of the earliest retailers were itinerant peddlers. Over the centuries, retail shops were transformed from a little more than rude booths to sophisticated shopping malls of the modern era. As you can see, there were merchants back in the day in the streets and just selling products on the street and just kind of, they call them peddlers. People just would almost harass individuals to buy products. Where now retail has morphed into an environment where you choose to walk into the environment. It's more of a welcomed environment versus being forced to buy something. Now there still are those types of markets out there in the world, but the modernistic type of retail is to walk into a store and choose what to look at and choose to get help if you need it, and not be forced to look at something or be forced to have something marketed in front of you. As a consumer now, we have more choice on where we go to shop and how we obtain information. Most modern retailers typically make a variety of strategic level decisions, including the type of store, the market served, and the optimal product assortment, plus the customer service and supporting services to the overall market positioning. Generally, retailers understand what industry they want to be in. Do they want to be a sporting goods retailer? Do they want to be a health care type retailer? Do they want to work in furniture? They pick categories, right? At the end of the day, you pick what category you either want to specialize in or you want to be more of a mass kind of retailer where you sell almost everything like a Walmart or a Target. Generally, though, most retailers will start with one or two categories, strengthen those, and then expand. Amazon started with books, as we know, and then they expanded to be who they are today. So really, retailers at the end of the day have all started in selling one or two type of categories, and then over time they expanded. Once the strategic retail plan is in place, retailers devise a retail mix which includes product, price, place, and promotion, personnel, and presentation. There's a lot of PRs there, right? Product, price, promotion, personnel, presentation, and place. At the end of the day, as a consumer, we know we want the product marketed to us in the right way, the product's available at the right time for us to purchase it, it's at the right price. The job of a marketing organization is to make sure that the product is described accurately. Perhaps part of marketing is you're also involved with the pricing. That kind of depends on your retailer. That might be a merchandiser function, but you have to market the right price and entice people with your marketing copy or campaign to interest them into buying the merchandise. So that's a big part of the marketing function of retail. And nowadays, digital technologies are also changing the way consumers pay for goods and services. Retailing support services may also include the provision of credit, delivery services, advisory services, stylist services, and other supporting services. At the end of the day, it's all about the experience, which we'll talk about in this lecture. Retail now is about the customer experience, the demands for a consumer and what they get, the add-on service to help them with their shopping experience or with their product they're purchasing is now important than ever. And that's also in their marketing responsibility. How do you market those add-on services to ensure customers understand all the services offered at a retailer? So let's take a look at what's going on in the industry today and some of the statistics that we are seeing in retail in the current climate. So for 2018, these are the top 8 USA retailers. Now, some of these probably aren't a surprise. We're very familiar with Walmart and the Amazons of the world, but the order of this is very fascinating. Walmart topped out as the number one retailer, which may not be surprising at close to $375 billion. But what surprised me was how Kroger, which is mainly known as a grocery store, got second place at almost 116 billion USA total gross sales, which they beat Amazon by about $13 billion. I thought, we all would think Amazon would be there in the number one or two spot. But Kroger actually, if you have a Kroger near you, is expanding into other businesses. They're putting jewelry stores and clothing, and they're slowly starting to expand. Now, perhaps one of Kroger's strategies is to build into a bigger mass market type store like Walmart and sell just about every category, or maybe they're just trying to specialize in specific categories. And not every Kroger has those jewelry stores or clothing and all that, but they do have some of them in a very specialized way in specialized stores. And one of the strategies is to test out certain stores, see how it does, and then expand it. But that's more of a store planning perspective. But just to get a sense of where the market's at, Walmart, Kroger, and Amazon and Costco being the top four, not too surprising. They sell a wide variety of categories. They have a great, shopping experience for the most part. Their marketing strategies are well known, and they have some of the best prices out there. So at the end of the day, they have a lot of things going for them that other retailers have lacked when it comes to customer experience and even marketing strategy, right? Again, going back to marketing, they always grab people's attention. They always have advertisements out there. They know how to hook people in and keep them engaged with their stores. But what is fascinating is that the Home Depot, while it's a home improvement only industry, it's still a huge industry out there at 91, close to $92 billion. They are the leader in the home improvement space. But the fact that they focus solely on gardening and home improvement and that kind of thing, and are very close to a Costco or an Amazon where they sell a wide variety of categories. So what's fascinating about that is that a retailer today can focus in on one industry such as home improvement and still be in the top of the retail industry as a whole. Then you have Walgreens and CVS kind of following behind that. Those are more they definitely have a wide location selection, a physical presence, and then their online sales are also growing as well. So lastly, you do have in there Target at $72 billion. And I do believe that's a typo there for CVS. That should be $77.9 billion. But at the end of the day, it's definitely fascinating to see your top 8 retailers. And this is all in both e-commerce and store sales and any kind of services they offer as well. So, what are the retail challenges in today's business climate for retail? It's really important that any department in a retail organization or company, no matter if you're in finance, supply chain, marketing, sales, whatever department you're in, you have to understand what all the challenges are in every aspect in every department. Because if you don't, you're not going to be able to work cohesively and cross functionally with others to optimize the retail experience in your company. So from a marketing perspective, it's really important to stay engaged with what's going on in supply chain, what's going on with how they're trying to meet the demand of the supply for their consumers. So this was a survey conducted very recently, October 2018. What are some of the leading business challenges facing U.S. retailers around supply chain and supply chain management? And the number one was pressure from competitors to achieve faster fulfillment to consumers. At 59% of the respondents of this survey said that it's really all about making sure that products get to the shelves and available to consumers a lot faster. Retailers are losing in the competitive space when they don't have the product available. Consumers aren't necessarily retail loyal as much as they used to be. Maybe you would just shop at a Walmart or you would just shop at Target. Nowadays, you're going to go to where the product's available because you have that immediate need and desire. And obviously, price is a big impact as well. But from a fulfillment perspective, supply chain managers and supply chain departments continuously have to make sure that their forecasting is accurate, that their orders are on time, delivered on time, put on shelf in the physical stores on time, or at least put online immediately. That instant gratification, that click away or just driving down the street to another store is what is a challenge. And from a marketing perspective, you have to know that. You have to understand when you go to market with a marketing campaign, when the product's going to be available, and then market when it is available for replenished items. So marketers have to keep a really good loop in on what's going on in supply chain. Is the product available? And you can't market something if something's not available. It's pretty straightforward, but that's the pain point of a lot of marketers these days is they build a bunch of content, a whole marketing strategy around products that are supposed to be available for a launch or some type of campaign, and then they're not available, so they pull that campaign and then redo it later or schedule it later. That happens to me all the time. And one of my day job is I work on online marketing, and I can think of a great new product coming out. I developed this great marketing strategy and campaign, but the product just didn't make it on time. The orders are delayed, or supply chain didn't forecast enough. Whatever the reason, I had to pull that campaign and pivot my strategic directions on something else. So that's why, again, it's really important from a marketing perspective to understand what's going on in supply chain. Some of the other top respondents here said the pattern of consumer demand and how we fulfill it has changed. So again, it's shifted about how the consumer demand shifts on who they shop with and the kind of products they want. It's even the product environment is much more competitive with pricing and the quality of product. New fulfillment strategies are adding new costs to the supply chain. So how products are fulfilled, right? Can you get it from one factory cheaper or one supplier cheaper? Changes the cost of the product. So as a marketer, you have to understand that, right? The profitability of the product. How much do you invest into marketing to sell on a product that has either higher or lower profit? You have to understand all those cost dynamics of the products you're selling or the service. The demands for more localized assortments are changing the buy strategy. So, more and more in marketing, you're trying to localize your marketing efforts, right? We call it geo-targeting or localizing, in that you're going to look at a specific region or specific segment of customers. And we'll talk more about customer segmentation in this class, but when it comes down to it, you're trying to, from a retail perspective, in a physical store perspective, brick and mortar, offer an assortment that's really more localized to that region, which makes more sense because you can turn that inventory or sell it more quickly. It's kind of like think about sports fan gear. They may have some fans of the New York Jets in Miami, Florida, but there's probably more local Miami Dolphin fans. So your assortment of fan gear or pro licensed sports gear in a local Dick's Sporting Goods, if you will, in Miami, in the Miami region of stores, may probably have more of the local team, the Miami Dolphins, and maybe sprinkle in a couple other teams that they know based on sales and research sell there. But it's really important to understand those localized needs of those customer segments and to market them as well. So those are some of the top supply chain kind of issues facing retail today And again, it's really important. The theme of this, though, from a marketing perspective, is that you stay engaged with the supply chain teams and understand the dynamics going on, just so it can help you on your marketing planning and provide the company strategic support from a marketing perspective. So the other challenges that are out there in retail. So it's beyond supply chain. It's a wide variety of things that are taking place in retail. Retail has seen a dramatic shift over the last 10 years, obviously from the fact that consumers are buying more online now. That's pretty straightforward, but brick and mortar, stores are declining. The number of chains are declining, which we'll talk about in a minute. But there's reasons to that, right? There's challenges that our retail store chains are facing. And then, based on this survey, here's some of the top reasons why. Over half, 54% of the respondents in the survey said consumer price sensitivity. So very straightforward though, but we are in a price war driven marketplace. We all know we can go to another website quicker in an instant moment, online at least, and find that product, or we can use our smartphone, walk into a brick and mortar store, we can look online on our phone for a cheaper price and either try to price match it in that store or go buy it online somewhere else. Amazon, Walmart's of the world, they really have kind of increased that with, pricing models that aren't very worried about profit, more about volume and growth on the top line revenue, making profit in different areas. So, consumers are very price savvy, right? And, with the market, with the dynamics of the market too, consumers are watching their wallets and making sure that they don't overspend on something they know they can probably buy cheaper somewhere else. The second major barrier or challenge for retail these days, at almost half of the respondent survey said, online competitors innovate too quickly for us to keep up. So some retailers just can't keep up with the online marketplace. They don't have the technology or talent to truly understand how to reach out to their customers. So from a marketing perspective, as you've heard, and we'll talk more about this tonight, digital marketing is way more important now than it ever has been. Now, it's been relevant, but as online sales increase in the brick and mortar retail kind of share of retail, online marketing and digital marketing is even more important. We'll talk more about that too. But what I'm trying to get to is that at the core of it, a business challenge for retail stores today is they just can't keep up with competitors who have way more savvy digital marketing strategies and technology to get to their customers faster and reach out to them and personalize marketing and all that kind of stuff that really tailors to those retailers who are growing. So very important that retailers keep up with the digital marketing going on. The next major challenge identified in this survey was the need for more consistent store execution and employee productivity. So it's all about the consumer experience and holding employees accountable. The next one, customers become trained to serve themselves more. They want more technology to do it. So think about yourself when you shop. You use the internet to browse and maybe you go to Amazon or Walmart or some major retailer and like review the product information or product reviews just for information's sake. But then you may go somewhere else to buy it. That happens. Or mobile apps and mobile technologies on the rise, and more people are shopping online via their mobile phones or looking online. So retailers have to have technology and have avenues for people to be in this digital world to really understand the consumer needs of information and gratification of their shopping. The next one is all about digital again. Store-based competitors have adopted digital innovations more than we have even been able to. So some retailers haven't been able to keep up on those digital innovations. And then the second to last one there, which I mentioned before, is in-store showrooming and increased competitive price. So we can use our smartphone again to go inside, let's say, a Best Buy. We see a Samsung TV for $500, and we want to just look at it in person to see what it looks like in person before we make a decision. And we use it as a showroom, kind of like a car. You can go use it, test drive it, that kind of thing. But maybe you go buy that car or that TV for that matter. You go buy it on Amazon because it's not $500, it's $450. So you saw it in person, use it as a showroom aspect, but you go online and find it somewhere else. That's a challenge for retailers today too. So, not to put a negative tone on this lecture, but it's really important to understand what's going on in today's society, in the world, and especially in the U.S. when it comes to retail. Retail chains, as we know, have closed down or are closing some stores. stores we never maybe would have thought of, or our parents or grandparents would have thought would ever close. Recently, Sears just went through bankruptcy and almost closed down, but then the CEO slash kind of person owning the company reinvested into it. But it'll be very challenging and interesting to see what happens at Sears over time. But that was one of the number one department stores, in decades ago, maybe 50 years ago. One of the number one department in stores in general for our parents and grandparents, and to see such a staple and such an icon of a store kind of decline over the years in sales and not find the right marketing strategy or consumer experience strategy, it's kind of sad when you think about it. But it's what's going on. It's what they're not doing, what they haven't done to stay in business is what we need to pay attention to in the retail industry, right? You have to learn what not to do that other retailers either didn't do or did to stay in business. Finish Line closed down. Macy's isn't closing down, but they are closing down stores on an annual basis. They're closing down more stores this year in 2019. JCPenney the same way. They're closing down stores. And there's a big dichotomy between a department store and like a general retail store and even grocery. So each of those individual type of retail stores all have their own challenges and marketplace challenges and marketing challenges. But at the end of the day, there are some core themes that work or should work to keep retail businesses going, and strategies which we'll talk about shortly. And just highlighting a few others: Toys R Us last year, Payless Shoe Source this year, Radio Shack in recent years, and Sports Authority in recent years. So again, it's just awareness that in the retail industry, it's very challenging. Stores once a staple and never you would think would go out of business has gone out of business, and some of them is because of their lack of marketing strategy and being in touch with the times of technology and digital marketing, but also losing a sense of that consumer experience is a common theme among many of these retail organizations. And there's more, but these are just some of the main few that I thought would be worth noting. So, kind of let's talk about now. This is where retail has been, and some of the stores that have closed down. But what is it that stores who are still open, and what is the common things and themes that are key to marketing in 2019 and beyond? What is it that's going to help retail marketers truly understand where they can spend their time and investment on marketing to get the best ROI, but also to just increase their competitiveness in the landscape? So you have a competitive advantage if you do a few things right. You have to focus on your products, your brands, and your pricing and your value. So right now in marketing, in the marketing department, you have to truly hone in on the fact that you have those name brands in your retailer, right? That you have to reach those brand loyalists. You have to find brand specific strategies. Price and quality of the product are all important, but at times though, you have to understand: do you have a brand that's just about retaining those customers who are loyal to a brand? Use those name brands to anchor new customers into your store. At times, though, it's not all about just the best price. You have to understand: what do you have the best quality of product? You want to reach those customers through marketing, messaging, and campaigns, either digital or print or traditional, in-store or online, whatever it is that you are, whatever retail business you're in. You need to talk about those brands that resonate with consumers, and bring them in to your environment. But then, though, you also have to talk about, if you are a Walmart or TJ Maxx, right, a company that isn't so focused on name brands and more about quality and value, you have to really market those messages, right? And people know that a Walmart or a Burlington or a TJ Maxx or Target, those types of stores are value driven. That their name brands don't always exist in those stores. People understand that. But what's going to help though is you have to go back to the core element of what kind of business you're in retail. Sometimes marketers and retail companies get so invested into trying to, think outside the box and do innovative things, and that's great on how you reach your customers and how you tailor those messages. But what you market doesn't have to be as complex. Go back to the core elements of low price, right? That you have a low price but great value for the products. At Walmart or Costco, it's all about, you come to us as a retailer because we can provide you great products at great prices, and that keeps you coming back. So don't forget, it's always okay to take new ways to market, but to market very core and fundamental things such as low price and value. The one thing that's very important, and this is not just the responsibility of marketing, it's the responsibility of every aspect of retail, from customer service, sales, the supply chain, you name it. Everybody has a key responsibility to make sure the customer experience in stores and online, but especially in brick and mortar physical stores, is top notch. You have to be in with how customers are shopping. You have to understand what they're looking for in their shopping experience, how to cater to that, and not just put products on a shelf and assume people are going to find them. So, from a marketing perspective, there's something called experiential marketing. You try something new in the experience. Perhaps one thing is that there's a certain grocery store chain that now has a bar inside their stores. Their experiential marketing, testing out having a bar so you can grab a beer and then walk around with your groceries, or walk around and shop for your groceries. That just may help that experience. I come in, hey, I can get a beer after work and get my grocery shopping done. I was going to go to the happy hour anyways, or hey, just to kind of enjoy the experience, I can grab a beer and go shopping. That is experiential marketing. Costco does a great job with that when it comes to samples. Samples are something that they thrive on when it comes to engaging their consumers with new products and brands. That's not necessarily experiential, but it was experiential at one time, and it's innovative still. Another key aspect of the customer experience that retail marketers need to understand is that seamless experience, in which we'll talk about more what that means. It's a key word that you've heard, omni-channel. And now they're calling it more unified commerce, but really it's just that seamless, experience. No matter what you do, what device you go on, there's that customer journey that's kind of being followed. That there's that convenience factor, and no matter if you buy online or in store, that you're still going to get the same element of customer service and support. So it's really important that nowadays the customer experience is at the forefront of both store operations and online operations, but also marketing. Marketing has a key focus around customer experience, and so those are the key aspects of where retail marketers are focusing their efforts in recent time and in the near future. So digital ads and marketing are on the rise. Now, again, digital marketing has been taking place for several years now. I mean, when it comes to digital marketing, that means email blasts, online advertisements, social media. Been around for years, right? Since the mid 2000s, it's when they started kind of popping up. But as you can see from this chart, since 2013 up until this year, the cost and the amount of spending really that companies are doing on digital marketing to drive business both in store and online. By the way, digital marketing isn't just for driving e-commerce business. It's to drive people who are on their phones or on the internet to understand the benefits and the promotions and to entice people to even go to stores. My company I work at during the day, we use digital marketing, email blasts, social media to entice and say, go to your local store for this product or this local store event. So as you can see that back in 2013, quite a bit of money was spent on marketing advertisements, $9.5 billion. Now it's almost doubled to almost 20 billion is projected this year, which is a huge lift. And it's something that you would understand that would be needed in today's environment, again, because of online shopping growing. But what I want you to understand that too is that digital advertising is also to drive business in stores. And so strategic marketers have to understand their budget, how much can I afford, and then you have to calculate your marketing return on investment. If I spend X, what do I get and why? And that kind of depends on your marketing vehicle, right? If it's an email blast, how much does it cost to send an email to one customer, and how much sales and do I get in return? Or if I do a Facebook advertisement, depends on your marketing mix. But at the end of the day, it's really important to manage your budgets and to spend wisely and not put your money somewhere that isn't converting into sales and bringing in new customers or retaining your current customers. Digital marketing technology. So, obviously you can work with we call it an agency, right? There's digital ad agency who can do all the marketing for you. Basically, you run your store operations, your online marketplace, whatever you want to call it, and you can have someone else do the marketing for you. And as a marketing person, you can either get a job directly with a retailer if you wanted to and work in their marketing department and do what we call in-house, or your company does the marketing itself, or you can hire an agency to do it for you because they have the expertise and the technology. What it comes down to, though, is really if you want to make an investment, not just in marketing resources like people, do you want to, as a retailer, invest into the new and latest and greatest digital marketing technology? So there's an adoption of that. A survey done very recently asked the question, what would retail executives in North America do differently to maximize the effectiveness of marketing technology? So it's not so much also are you going to invest into the technology. The technology is so robust and complex. How you use it is also very important. So, digital marketing and being a strategic marketer isn't just being the person to come up with the flashy image and the flashy, marketing copy and sales pitch. You have to be strategic in how you leverage your technology and when and how to use it. So it's very important to know that it's more about your tools these days than it is just your knowledge of the marketplace and knowledge on your creative mind. You have to understand technology now more than others. 60% of the respondents says how they would optimize the effectiveness of their marketing technology by setting up a better strategy to measure the success of their technology. Part of being a strategic marketer is knowing that there's more key metrics to analyze than just sales. It's, what is the ROI on the spend? What kind of a customer acquisition goal do I have? What customer lifetime value do I have, which we talked about before? That there's more metrics than just sales and profit that drive your marketing decision making. So you have to develop strategies around your technology that really develop metrics for success, and you have to measure them effectively. The second higher kind of respondent, 49% feedback was to set up a specialized and centralized team to manage the complexity. So because technology and marketing is so complex now, you need to have specialized experts, people trained on it. Now it sounds pretty straightforward, but because it's so complex, you really have to have subject matter experts and truly trained technical people to optimize marketing technology to truly get the best value from that technology. And the others truly are focused around your supplier, your vendor partnerships, who are you getting that marketing technology from and leveraging their expertise. But why I wanted to show this was because it's more than just understanding, how to market, the marketing fundamentals of building strategies and, developing the right messaging and content. And, you have to understand the technology is where it's going, and you have to understand how to use it to its fullest potential for your individual retail business. Not every retail business will operate the same exact way when it comes to marketing technology. That's important to know as well. So let's talk about this, though. When it comes to e-commerce versus department stores, the reason why marketing technology is on the rise is because there is a thing about e-commerce sales growing. So we see here in this kind of chart, we all know that around the year 2000, the bubble, the dot-com boom started to expand. In the mid-90s, the web started taking off and dial-up, and there's very few retailers. But steadily over the years, the early 2000s, you started seeing this kind of rise in e-commerce sales. And the trade-off of that was that people were shopping more online, therefore department stores, and the same aspect when it comes to mass retailers as well, but this is focused on a diagram of department stores, started to decline. Customers were starting to gravitate more online than the stores. And so from a department store perspective, you're seeing sales kind of drop off right around the year 2010, 2011 is really what we've seen over almost the last decade, the shift in the percent of sales of e-commerce, the share of retail sales is shifting more towards e-commerce when it comes to department store sales. Now, e-commerce itself is not taking over entire retail sales. It truly is only around that up to 15% of sales is projected to be, e-commerce. It will grow into the 20s and 30%. in the years to come. So physical stores still have value, but the point is though, when you go into a marketing profession, it's to equip yourselves with understanding that it's not just about one channel or the other. You have to be very digital savvy, but also understand how to use that savviness towards the brick and mortar environment. So that's when we get down to this coin term that's been around for the last, I'd say almost 10 years or so, called omni-channel. But nowadays they're calling it unified commerce. It's just the way you describe it. Omni-channel is still a really relative term that is kind of being coined in the industry now as unified commerce. But at its core, omni-channel marketing, what it means is it refers to multi-channel sales approach that provides a customer with an integrated shopping experience, hence the word integrated. The customer can shop online from a desktop or mobile device via a phone or in a brick and mortar store, and the experiences will be seamless. It's very important to understand that what omnichannel means is that no matter where you start your journey in your shopping experience, whether you started online with your phone or your laptop or desktop, and that drove you to go into the store, that entire experience is seamless. That the price is the same, that the product and the marketing that kind of entice you to go in store is the same in store, that the customer service you experience either on the phone or in person is relatively the same, because the fact that retailers know that customers are using their digital gadgets to sway them into going to stores or shop online. Omnichannel is a must in retail these days. Back in 2010, 2012, that time frame, omnichannel was a coined term and something that was called a strategy, a new innovative way of doing business. Now, that's still a strategy, but it's not new anymore. Quite frankly, in retail marketing and retail business, omnichannel is more of a must because of where the market is going. So, if you work in a retail environment or retail corporation, to say that omnichannel is new and innovative is not necessarily what it is. How you do the omnichannel marketing can be new and innovative within it, but omnichannel business mind and business kind of acumen alone isn't enough to say that you're being strategic. It's what you're doing within that seamless experience, that integrated shopping experience for your customers that can be strategic, because the mechanisms and marketing techniques within that can shift based on learning and experience. So this is why don't confuse the term multi-channel with omni-channel. Multi-channel, it starts with the company first, and it considers all of its outbound communication marketing efforts, whether that's stores and print advertisements and flyers and newspapers, or digital such as social media like Twitter there, or your phone and apps, or maybe just good old-fashioned telemarketing if they still do that, right? It's more starting with the company mind and them just kind of doing the one-off different communication channels, and then not analyzing how the different communication marketing channels or vehicles are interacting with each other. It's just more one-to-one and building strategies around each one. Well, that's where the market has shifted and saying, well, you know what? We have to understand what customers prefer. Maybe some people prefer only social media. So we need to have a social media kind of technique. But customers, though, kind of do bounce around. They go from the phone to social media to in-store. And if that's okay, and so what it does, it starts with the customer first. And then you consider the interactions based on their behavior. So you take the mind off that the company knows all. Customer actually will tell you what they want based on their behavior. So having a customer insights department that studies that kind of, where does the traffic go? Where are people going in their journey? A journey, again, is how do they bounce from one channel to the other? And how do you build that unified experience or omni-channel experience to keep people interested in the shopping journey and in your retail environment and into your brand, if you will? So it's more full circle versus one-off communication. It's encompassing, it's all together. So that's why it's very important that you don't confuse multi-channel with omni-channel. It's different. So we talked a lot about B2C, right? Business to consumer, an average kind of retail shopping experience. But what's really important, though, is that in business today and in retail or business in general, that there's business to business omni-channel marketing. So perhaps you're more interested in that kind of work where you're selling to, in large orders, you're doing government contracts or government sales, or you're doing large business sales, right? B2B marketing is a big industry, and B2B sales is a big industry as well. So I wanted to make sure you understood that there's a big opportunity there that you can maybe be interested in doing. Some of the capabilities that are out there for future omni-channel capabilities that B2B sellers are looking for, um, is about how to drive the technology to further their business, right? What are the things that B2B sellers are looking for? And based on a current survey, 62% are looking for automated price optimization. What this means is that there's technology out there to optimize price, that you can just kind of take an algorithm and some kind of technology to deliver the best price. And that can be a marketing technique, but it can also be more of a sales technique. It really depends on the organization. But the one that really matters from a marketing perspective too is that personalized recommendations. Now, I want you to understand the personalized recommendations are both a B2C and B2B key marketing technique and strategy. And whenever you go online and you shop, I think Amazon for that matter, 35% of Amazon.com sales are based on personalized recommendations. You'll see it on websites that may be called "You May Also Like" or "Recommended for You," or you get a personalized email based on products that you've looked at that they kind of cater to you, or it's based on your behavior. What have you looked at online? What have you shopped before? And it's delivering that personalized experience and recommendations of products. It's also a personalized experience too. So what's very effective both B2B and B2C is that personalized experience. People, gravitate towards simple things like hello and then your name in an email blast, or they only cater and show you products that you are generally interested in, or they know when it's time for you to replenish a certain item. Providing that personalized experience is very important to consumers and is a huge marketing technique both in B2B and B2C. But what are the challenges for B2B sellers? Well, 44% say it's difficulty integrating back office technology. So again, honing in on the fact that marketing these days is all about technology, and you have to have a really mature retail company to understand how to integrate the latest and greatest technologies, and that's definitely a challenge for B2B. Difficulty in sharing customer data and analytics. As a marketing department, you rely on your customer analytics, right? You rely on the customer insights that can tell you how to market to your teams, but it's also hard to get those insights and analytics. Analytics isn't always that readily available, so that's a challenge as well. And then at the end of the day, these challenges are similar to what companies such as B2C retailers face when trying to implement omnichannel capabilities. So these again are also B2C challenges when it comes to omnichannel business and marketing today. But what's important is that you have a way to work through it and define strategies to overcome those challenges. So digital marketing, again, digital marketing isn't just driving business to e-commerce and online shopping. It's really important to understand that digital marketing and digital experiences, which we're going to talk about, is all about driving to the store and online. So building digital experiences and digital marketing techniques is very important. This is a great chart to talk about the different areas that you can focus on. What's the beauty about digital marketing these days is that you can be someone who focuses truly just on email marketing or social media marketing and specialize in that area, because the amount of work and support needed in each of these areas is abundant. Now, one person can always do all of these things. They may be able to do a piece of each one or have a couple of responsibilities, but there are truly people who just have roles on social media or SEO or content marketing for truly big and large retail corporations. Now, smaller retail corporations, people that wear multiple hats, so maybe you can't specialize in one area and deep dive and get into the kind of really granular things of these, but let's talk about each one in more detail. So integrated planning. Integrated planning means in digital marketing, always on campaigns. What always on means is that these are the kind of the year-round, everyday things that you're going to see and market, right? Think about a fast food chain, McDonald's. They're always going to digitally mark their Big Mac. Big Mac is a staple burger for McDonald's. Dick's Sporting Goods. While they have seasonal sports, year-round fitness is a thing, and they're going to staple their always-on marketing campaign for Under Armour. Now, always on doesn't always mean you're going to have the same image, same picture, same marketing copy. But what you're going to have is a theme that you're always going to stick behind. That keeps people coming on the kind of regular basis to your product. Content marketing is very important, right? You have to understand what imagery is working, what messaging, having the best in class type of imagery that people can understand and see to truly sell the product or service. SEO, search engine optimization. At the end of the day, you want to make sure you rank on Google search or Bing, but really Google. Understand, when someone types in a keyword such as pants, are you that retailer is going to pop up at the top? Or if you type in Nike shoes, you want to be a Dick's Sporting Goods or some retailer at the top of that. So it's really understanding the online environment and how to really, because that's how people shop now, obviously search, and SEO is very important. Paid media, so again, you can invest into digital ads, Google ads or ads in general. Whenever you see an ad on a website, it's investing into those advertisements. Social media marketing, you can use Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We all know that they can advertise on there. How you advertise and what you advertise and the type of messaging and content, that's all very important. Email marketing, pretty straightforward. You can do very specific email blasts that are very personalized, one-to-one. You can do more mass emails that go to a larger group. A lot of A/B testing involved with that, where you try two different mechanisms with the same theme. Multi-channel analytics, this is where we need to rely on analysts to look at the different vehicles and all the different channels and see how they're interacting. That analytical work is so important to say, is my omni-channel strategy working? Is that investment into retail and online and the different vehicles paying off? So very short kind of synopsis of the different levers and the different areas of marketing that exist in digital marketing today. And quite frankly, you could pick one or a couple or a few of these to really specialize in and make a career out of. That's what's exciting about digital marketing today. It's not just one type of role. There are multiple roles you can get involved in. So that concludes the lecture. I hope you found it interesting tonight or today. Retail is an industry that's challenging. I wouldn't say that it's an industry that you wouldn't want to work in. It's just one that you have to understand it's going through a major transition in the market right now. So focusing your efforts, if you're really interested in retail, on digital technology and digital marketing is going to really help you out. And again, it's not to say you can't work for the store side of things, the brick and mortar store, but in marketing, you have to just understand omni-channel and how to understand you to maximize your ROI of your marketing spend is more important than ever. And then kind of investing your skill set into digital technology and digital marketing for both the brick and mortar store and e-commerce is really what's going to help you be successful moving forward. Thanks for your time, and I look forward to speaking with you in the next topic. Take care.